Many thanks for your company. Angry residents at Kwadaso Estate in Kumasi have vowed to close a partly collapsed bridge that links the community to the rest of the city. They accuse the Urban Roads Department of failing to respond to repeated appeals for repair of the structure, which has become a death trap to users. Woyome caught up with some of the residents and has come through with this report.
This is one of the main covered bridges constructed over the Kwadaso stream. It is the main outlet for waste and running water from the community and nearby Patase, Sofolai and Kwadaso.
Motorists, commuters and pedestrians have had cause with this bridge because it's been eaten away by erosion, and not only erosion. I'm told some people have lost their lives here, and it's been a very difficult moment for road users who use this particular road to join other parts of Kumasi.
Soil around the main covered bridge, which facilitates water flow, has been washed away. Residents who live on the other side of the bridge are compelled to remain in their homes anytime it rains until flood waters recede.
Actually there was one guy who was coming from Kwadaso to West, like this place links Kwadaso and then the estate. So what happens is that he was coming from Kwadaso, and then it happened like there was a lighthouse, and then the river had overflowed this bank. When it overflows, all this place is flooded. So he tried going through, thinking it was possible to pass through, but then as he was going through, I think it swept him, and then he just went away. Then we just found him later on at the other end.
The condition of the bridge continued to deteriorate, exposing motorists and pedestrians to danger. Deep cracks in the structure have forced the soil under the covers to cave in, creating crater-like hole beneath the bridge. Half of the road at that section becomes unmotorable amid fears any part of the remaining structure can cave in at any time.
You can see from how it is gradually dilapidating, you see. So I think you don't need a magician to tell you. You see, you come and see it for yourself. You see how risky is it to us.
Every blessed day I use this road, but the road is not good. It's dangerous to our health. So we beg you, please, try and do something about it for us. It's rainy season, you can't cross. You have to return, you can't cross. You can't cross at all. It's very dangerous. During rainy season, when you get to this place, you see how the water is flowing. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous.
Residents say several appeals to the Urban Roads Department to fix the broken covered bridge have fallen on deaf ears. For them, the only way to protect life and property is to close the road to use.
It's very, very dangerous for roads to be, for vehicles to be plying this road. It's very, very dangerous because almost half of the road is eaten away. We can't be using this bridge as well. It has to be pulled down, and then new things are like something better should be constructed.
Those of us who live close don't want any more disasters. We have decided to close the bridge to traffic to protect lives. School children and motorists use this bridge. We don't want anyone to die.
Because we will block the road. It is dangerous to use the bridge. There is a big hole under the structure. It can pass for a galamsey pit. It can cave in any time.
Assemblyman for the area says the bridge has been awarded on contract for reconstruction. He says work will commence as soon as repairs of a similar bridge on the Patase-Ejunasi road is completed. Ashanti Regional Director of the Urban Roads Department, Francis Gambra, confirms contract award. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Woyome reporting.
Smallholder women farmers in the country are making a passionate appeal to the government to help remove barriers they encounter in farming-related activities to boost their income. They made the appeal during a two-day National Smallholder Women Farmers Conference organized by Action Aid Ghana in Wa. Joy News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
Agriculture is the backbone of the country's economy, and about 80% of total agriculture production is attributed to smallholder farmers, including women. Women contribute to about 70% of agriculture production, which includes handling, processing, and marketing. However, they are the most that are confronted with serious constraints, such as limited access to productive resources, such as land, improved seed, credit facilities, and access to market, among others. The National Smallholder Women Farmers Conference was held on the theme Influencing Gender-Responsive Budget for Agriculture, time to increase investment for smallholder women farmers. It brought together representatives of over 100 women groups from the 6 operational regions of ActionAid Ghana. Country Director of ActionAid Ghana, Sumela Abdul Rahman, opening the conference, spoke about key challenges that women farmers go through in farming-related activities and why they need to support them.
We have over 70% of the 51% of the women population in this country involved in agriculture. And so by that, it is fair that when it comes to investments in agriculture, it is important that we look at the role that women do and invest heavily. It's a question of equity and justice.
Participants at the two-day conference call on the government to change the status quo in 4 main areas to help women farmers in the country. They included inadequate extension officers, especially women, and lack of access to tractor services. Yusuf Hawulutu and Abuya Ernestina are farmers from Bimbala and Nabdam districts.
At times, the men, when you are even free to the extension officer, people may claim that maybe you are a friend to him, and your husband will not be happy. Maybe the day that you are even going to him to come to your farm, maybe your husband will be thinking otherwise. The wife too may be suspecting, maybe this woman is having an affair with my husband. That is why she's always disturbing my husband to come to her farm. So for that matter, we are appealing to government to also add female to extension officers.
When it rains and we doesn't get the tractor to plow early, we normally sow late, which we does not encourage with the farmers, because at the last we get low yields.
Deputy Airports Regional Minister Hamidu Chine Isaku assured the women farmers that government will take a serious look at their concerns.
We all identify that women are a key stakeholder in our families, in our communities, and our country. So we have to make conscious effort to support the development of women. And that is why this promise was made. And I am sure that in the area of Maslow and other interventions, we are going to take it up and ensure that we are able to support you through these interventions.
The project, named Promoting Opportunities for Women Empowerment and Rights, POWER, is a 5-year project expected to end in 2020 and funded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands. Azwe Mesuna is the national coordinator of the project.
We've seen that when we conduct research, the program doesn't really benefit them. They are neglected and they don't assess some of these packages. So this conference is to highlight some of these policies, let them know that they are there and they have the right to read, to also talk to government to ensure that a percentage of their budget is allocated specifically for women farmers.
Reporting for J News, Rafiq Salam.
Still on agriculture, Ghana's fish production has suffered a 60% deficit as fish stock in the sea depletes at a fast rate. The country currently imports over 600,000 metric tons of fish and produces less than 400,000. On Joy News Agenda today, Central Regional Correspondent Richard Kojunyako explores the causes of Ghana's depleting fish stock and implications for the country.
Hundreds of canoes dock here at Elmina, one of the vibrant fishing communities along the coast in Ghana. It's Wednesday afternoon and some of the fishermen here did not go to sea.
number 10 bia ngita first YouTube ya no aba.
At first it wasn't like that. Now we don't get fish when we go to sea anymore. The Saiko people sweep all the fish and bring them here. The small fishes are all brought here. The Chinese people always get a lot of cash. Kweku Mensah is an artisanal fisherman at Elmina. He has over 3 decades of experience in the fishing industry. He addressed the implications of they not having enough catch on their family. I am 44 years. I have 6 children. The work is no longer lucrative. I can no longer look after my children in school. If they don't stop the illegal practices, there wouldn't be any fish left for anybody. It is a cycle people. Government should do something about them. The issue of the depletion of fish stocks in the sea has engaged the attention of the fishermen here. The artisanal fishermen and the cycle businesses point accusing fingers at each other for the depletion of the fish stock.
And though you be 200 and something, ne cycle boating a kuba for Kobeda Chakrada and Nemnebo.
The cycle boats sweep all the fish from here to Takrady. They leave no fish for us to harvest. The Chinese boats are really wreaking havoc. There was an experienced fisherman who warned us some time ago that the fortunes in the fishing business would dwindle, considering the rates the cycle people are doing their business. Something urgently needs to be done.
The government can talk to the owners of the tourism, can move to far away, then fish they come down, then can we go take small.
The entire species of marine life is under siege. The artisanal fishermen have resorted to every means possible to get what they want. They say they do so because government has allowed what has become known as psycho business to thrive. The cycle business is where large fishing trawlers are set to sweep the entire surface of the sea up to the belly of the sea.
So we understand petroling is abolished and it's no longer. But when you come to the fishing communities, the fishermen also claim that they have been seeing the trawl vessels doing pet trawling. But there is a business, a booming business called the cycle business. Yes, it's very contentious and highly volatile issue, but I think it's a major contributor to a number of the issues we are having in the industry now. So the principle in fisheries is that for a stock to be able to replenish itself, every fish born must get the chance to also reproduce once. So if you catch more of the juveniles who have not had the opportunity to reproduce, it means you are killing the population.
Dr. Isaac Otre is a fisheries scientist and a lecturer at the Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Sciences at the University of Cape Coast. Ghana, which consumes over 950,000 metric tons of fish annually, currently imports over 60% of its fish, and in 2016 imported $135 million worth of fish because of the reduction in the country's fish stock.
This is the Elmina Fish Market. It is one of the busiest places in the entire Elmina town. Fishermen who have gone to sea come here to offload the fishes to the fishmongers who sell them. The fishmongers also have concerns. They've been complaining about the inadequate catch the fishermen bring to this place.
According to the Food and Agriculture Organization's report, fish provided 6.7% of all protein consumed by humans around the world and offers a rich source of long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins, calcium, zinc, and iron. A number of worrying factors are threatening the long-term sustainability of the ocean's resources in addition to overfishing. Dr. Isaac Otre says Ghana has laws and ought to implement the laws to the letter so that the stocks in the sea could be saved.
If you have come into the industry, you realize that the serious we have is political interference. It worries a lot. So if someone breaks the law, the person is caught. The person is the police do what they would do to the FEU, Fisheries Enforcement Units. They do what they could do to prosecute the person. What happens is that now there will be political interference. Even at the point when they are caught, the phone calls, there's please release him, do that, and the person will be left to go. So if we make the laws work, I think these issues can be addressed.
Richard Kwejenyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Now, Ghana has been ranked the second highest transit point for the trafficking of cocaine in Africa. That's according to the latest UN World Drug Report, which also ranks Ghana 14th among the 20 biggest cocaine consuming nations in the world. The report comes at a time authorities are implementing special measures to stop trafficking of the banned substance. Fifi Kumsin has more.
According to the report, 1.1 million Ghanaians use cocaine. That is, if you put the country's population at 27 million, close to 300,000 people are deemed to be sniffing the substance or using it in other forms. Ghana placed 14th, coming between Bermuda and Italy. The traffickers use Ghana to move the banned substance to South Africa, Colombia, and East Asia. Albania is the worst, while Luxembourg is the least when it comes to the percentage of the population using cocaine. It says 250 million people around the world use the substance. Even more worrisome is the fact that 29.5 million of those drug users, or 0.6% of the global adult population, suffer from drug use disorders. This means that their drug use is harmful to the point that they may experience drug dependence and require treatment.
That was Fifi Kumsin's report. You're watching Joy News today live on the Joy News channel on Multi TV, Go TV channel 144 and DSTV channel 421. We're also on ABN television in Europe. Still to come, Supreme Court gives state officials green light to continue valuation of properties belonging to businessman Alfred Woyome as it dismisses his motion challenging the legality of the exercise. We'll hear from a Deputy Attorney General on how the state intends to implement this ruling. Details after this break. Please stay. Thanks for staying here on Joy News today. LPG Marketers Association is accusing the National Petroleum Authority (NPA) of acting unfairly in closing 36 LPG stations. They insist the authority should have informed them of the reasons for the closure as partners in the industry. The NPA has closed down 36 out of 100 stations visited for various breaches of safety regulations. The visits and subsequent closures are part of measures to prevent explosions at gas stations like the recent Medina Atomic Junction incident. Public Relations Officer of the association, Bernard Oredu, however, says they are unhappy with the closures.
We are going to go ahead with planned scrutiny and maintenance, but it's going to be graduated. I mean, it won't be nationwide at a go. And besides, if we intend to also go by the planned maintenance and scrutiny, we will come out with a timetable informing Ghanaians as to which areas that will be affected by our activity. We will give a reasonable notice to the general public before we undertake the exercise. Before we start, we will let Ghanaians know. But as of yet, we've suspended the activity, but we'll come back to it.
But sir, is it not possible to carry out these maintenance activities whilst the stations are operational?
Because it involves some technical issues and issues of inspection of the installations. It is usually prudent that in doing this, you shut the outlet. And we would have thought that at least if the MPA goes to an outlet to carry out its operations and checks and probably make some findings, those findings should be known to us that, okay, we were here and because of A, B, and C, we did this. But it looks like it was very much arbitrary. I mean, there was a case with one outlet where they asked for a document. The operator told them that it is at home and he should just be given time to go for it, but it was closed down. So we thought, I mean, such issues were not really, they were not sitting well with us. So we believe that definitely it will be because of some findings. That is why probably they shut an outlet. So we were of the view, at least we should know these findings by the MPA. We should know the criteria and where we fell short. And it's not as if the MPA doesn't go about its regular inspection. The special tax was flowing from the directive of cabinet. The regular PA checks are there. They do that on a regular basis. They still have the times to which they do all these things. But this special tax was like the MPA was flowing from the directive by cabinet. That is why we were of the view that just as they do their regular checks and maintenance work, we should be put in the know. We should be able to identify the reasons for the shutdown and all those things.
The Supreme Court has given state officials the green light to continue evaluation of properties belonging to businessman Alfred Woyome. The state is currently trying to retrieve some 51.2 million cedis paid the businessman, which the court has held was wrongfully paid. Mr. Woyome has already paid 4 million cedis but is currently facing oral examination as the Attorney General has described the amount as paltry with remaining payments not forthcoming. The exercise is to enable an identification of properties belonging to the businessman. Mr. Woyome on Monday challenged the legality of the valuation of some of his properties, saying the act was not backed by law. Delivering his judgment, Judge Justice A.A. Benin described the application as lacking merit. Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame, while expressing concerns about what he calls delays by the businessman, vowed all properties belonging to him will be attached once they are identified.
There were two issues that were to be decided by the court presided over by Justice A.A. Benin. The first one had to do with a businessman challenging the legality of valuation of his assets, with the second one having to do with a motion he was supposed to move for a halt of the oral examination. The latter was not moved as the judge raised some concerns about the writ that had been brought before the court. The concern really had to do with whether they wanted a three-member panel to hear the matter or they wanted the sole judge, Justice Benin, who was hearing the oral examination, to be the same judge to hear the matter. Because of the lack of clarity, Justice Benin directed that lawyers for the businessman write to the Chief Justice seeking for direction on the matter. The court, meanwhile, proceeded to deal with the issue of valuation of the properties belonging to the businessman Alfred Woyome. Justice Benin dismissed that challenge of the legality as saying that it lacked merit. The reason the court gave was to the effect that when the state issued the first writ asking that some properties of the businessman be attached, that was carried out on the 9th of January 2015. As was explained by Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame, the court agreed with him that on the 6th of January 2016, a second writ was issued. Now, the Justice Benin explained that since that second writ was issued before expiration of the first writ, it's even rendered the second one ineffective as per the attachment provided by the registrar of the High Court. It appeared they acted on the basis of the first writ that was issued and granted by the court. So on that basis, he said it lacked merit. The concern again that officers of the High Court issued a writ rather than officers of the Supreme Court. Justice Benin did explain that it was because the Supreme Court didn't have the machinery to undertake that exercise. So even though officers of the High Court issued a writ, they issued it under the express orders of officers of the Supreme Court, making it an act of the Supreme Court and not an act of the High Court. Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame, who has some reservations about the actions of the businessman, which he describes as all efforts aimed at delaying the state's attempt to retrieve the money, raised those concerns with addressed the media, but he vowed the state will go after the businessman's properties once they identify them.
Now, the Konfenochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi has opened investigations into the undersupply of diabetes medication by the president of the Ghana Diabetes Association, Elizabeth Denyo. A committee has been set up to look into these discoveries made by Joy News' Kweti Nate. Now, Mrs. Denyo failed to supply the total number of glucometers and strips meant for the facility, though the Diabetes Association received them from the International Diabetes Federation for free distribution. Public Relations Officer for the hospital, Kwame Frimpong, spoke to Daniel Dazi earlier on News Desk.
The committee has been set up basically to help manage the public what came in, how they came in, who took custody of them, and how they were distributed. We have had to take this step because almost all the names that have come up disputing the circumstances under which these supplies were delivered to us. The National Diabetes Association has given this account, the sense that they've given to the hospital, and the staff who were involved in the receipt and distribution of these supplies. But as I've indicated, there is a different version that we are picking up here. And the committee is basically to help management to know the circumstances surrounding these supplies, so that a comprehensive report could be compiled to help management take further action on the matter.
And would you be able to tell us what some of these accounts are?
It is up to the committee to bring this formally to the attention of management. We do not want to just take action based on the preliminary feedback we are getting. We want a formal report on the whole issue so that management will be guided by it.
So what action will the hospital take after these investigations are concluded?
But we do not want to preempt the recommendations that the committee will submit, so we will leave that to the committee. But definitely, management will take the necessary action as and when the report is submitted to written. The recommendations have been outlined clearly for management to do the follow-up.
Many thanks for your company on this edition of Joy News today. That will be all. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. You can also follow us on social media on Facebook and Twitter. Our name is Joy News on TV. My name is Benis Abubedu. Many thanks for your company once again.